Hey everybody, welcome to the morning market briefing. It's Monday, February 23rd, 2026. Hope you're doing well out there. A few technical difficulties with the old cans. Tom trying to get the cans to work. But appreciate you guys, as always, for being here. If you have not already, go ahead and check out at some point on the YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcast, a long discussion with Amy Odell, the founder and CEO of the Jacobs Ladder Group. This is the first in a series of, I guess we would call them reverse sponsorships. We really appreciate our listeners and their loyalty to us, and we're trying to put good causes out in front of you. We're not getting paid for this. We're actually asking you to share a little extra pocket change with some organizations that we really appreciate. So the Jacobs Ladder Group, go listen to the interview. It was very good. But after you do so, go to the jacobsladdergroup.org. At the top right of their website, there's a donate button. You can help a very worthy cause. I don't want to say more because I want you to go listen to the interview. I thought it was really great. Tom and Ben had a wide-ranging discussion with Amy, who's just incredibly impressive, I thought. So thank you guys for doing that. Check out, again, the jacobsladdergroup.org. Top right button, click that little donate button. Help a great local organization that's doing really powerful, impactful work with all kinds of children with different challenges. With that, guys, how was the weekend?
It got cold.
It got cold. Very cold. Did you watch the hockey game?
Obviously.
Man,
That was sick.
I had to leave at like 8:45. So I left right after the first period. That first goal was unbelievable.
The last one was pretty good too.
I wish I had seen that live, but the first one I was just like, I rewinded because I'm like, I got to see this live again. It's just like, how did he juggled a hockey puck on the stick going through two of the best defensemen in the world and then juked out the goalie, put it off balance into the corner of the net. I can't even stay on skates. I don't know how on earth he did that.
It was awesome, man. Vibes were high.
It was great. Imagine how good that team would have been if Canada had seceded. And
that's the thing. I know Canadians, I know we have a lot that listen in Canada, and they're probably hanging their heads pretty low today after that.
But this could be you.
You're one turn of the dial. You know, if you become the 51st state, if you'd done it last year, you'd be a gold medalist. And I think that's something worth considering. There's also a lot of online debate about if Canada or Alabama is better from a standard of living standpoint, which was very funny.
Depends on the part of Alabama, but there are some really nice parts of Alabama where there's quite a bit of wealth and very little snow.
Yeah.
You know? And there are large swaths of Canada where no one can live at any time comfortably. So I would say most of Alabama, good living.
There we go.
Most of Canada, Arctic Circle.
We'll stay on the international front. You guys did a great job responding to the tariff rollback that happened on Friday. Again, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, you're missing all this stuff. So go check it out. Like, subscribe, all that stuff.
Our first emergency podcast.
Yeah, that was very cool. I appreciated the live coverage. I saw you guys walk by when I was in a meeting. I came out. I was like, "Where did you guys go?" We did a podcast. So very powerful. Ben, a couple days later, how are you viewing everything?
Yeah, I think we definitely needed a little bit of time to kind of diagnose, especially we didn't know a lot of the response from the Trump administration at immediately the time of the Supreme Court striking down the IEEPA tariffs. We do know that now. And in fact, even on Friday, we wouldn't have known the full story because they imposed a 10% global tariff, which Trump subsequently revised to 15% on Saturday, which begs the question, did he not know they could go to 15%, or was he planning to go to 15% all along and he just didn't want to shock the markets too much? He'd probably say the latter. I think probably the former. But I think the big takeaway is that I think we're going to have another period of uncertainty from a business standpoint. I think that people were in a spot where they kind of knew what was the case. They knew what was happening with tariffs, and they weren't loving it, but they were fine with it. They were moving on. We talked to a number of companies. I mean, Garmin was saying the same thing, saying, look, it's 15% tariff. It's baked in. not planning on anything else. Well, now those tariffs are done away with, and now you have this 15% new tariff, and now we're going to have to potentially start a new period of negotiation. The Trump administration saying companies that have signed deals need to honor those deals, but already the EU and the UK are talking about reneging on those deals and instead making potentially new deals with these with the US, which again, and we know how Trump negotiates, which is ratchet things up ahead of making a new deal. And so I think that we're kind of in this, we're not back to square one from a business standpoint, but we've definitely taken a step back. And I think that as I look forward over the short term, what I think is potential, I think we might see a surge in imports. If I'm a retailer or if I'm thinking about bringing in summer inventory, I'm just going to do it right now, do it as fast as possible, and just stick it in the warehouse. And then I don't have to worry about what the tariff's going to be in April. I think longer term, we probably get back to about where we were with the IEEPA tariffs, but it's going to be messy. I also think that refunds are probably more likely than not, but that's going to be messy too. And I also think you're essentially going from, whereas the administration was saying people are going to get tariff refund checks, $2,000 tariff refund checks, or $1,776, I think it was. Now that money is going to be funneled back to the companies. And from the company's perspective, they're not going to lower prices.
No.
Because it's a one-time deal, and they're probably not even going to book higher profit. What they're probably going to do is just going to be, it's a one-time cash tax credit that they're going to use to buy back stock, and that's what it's going to be. And then we move on, and it's just not going to be impactful to anyone other than seeing some of those stock shares outstanding go down a little bit.
Yeah, it certainly seems like this. If you're sitting at home and wondering, what will I do with these refunds? How will I personally be impacted? The answer is you won't, and you won't do anything with it. So I think everybody should be comfortable with that. I'm not saying that means they shouldn't have been reversed or that the money shouldn't be refunded, but you're not getting a check in your mailbox.
Yeah, focus that energy on what if I won the lottery? What would I do first?
Yeah,
use those.
That's a more likely outcome.
Yeah, it's a more likely outcome.
I do think. I mean, so this will represent about $130 billion that's already been taken in, probably close to $200 billion in annualized, because not all the new tariffs are IEEPA tariffs. So it's going to be significant. It's not crazy numbers yet. I mean, it's crazy to me, but it's from a government standpoint, it's not insane.
I will say that on Friday afternoon, Scott Bessent was giving a speech, and he basically said the Treasury is not adjusting their cash flow expectations, that he expects the number for tariff revenues to stay the same. And
I think if I'm asked to render an opinion on the Supreme Court's opinion, Supreme Court with a lowercase Supreme Court, according to a Trump truth this morning. But I think they, frankly, I think from just a constitutional perspective, I think they made the right decision. I think Neil Gorsuch's, who was a Trump appointee, his concurring opinion was really good, basically saying, look, the legislative body exists for a reason. This is something the legislature should do. He was basically saying, the problem is that the inaction of Congress has forced the hand of the executive branch, and they've basically subrogated all that responsibility to the executive branch over the last, 30, 40 years. At some point, Congress has got to step up and actually do something.
And I think that was interesting. There's a great interview. Ben and I talked about it earlier this morning with former Senator Ben Sasse. I think it's with the Hoover Institute. But last week he was bemoaning the exact same issue in terms of the lack of action by Congress. And he had real data in terms of this is the number of things that actually get through the House and get through the Senate, and the percentage of the actual activity that is actually just renaming a post office, for example, is staggering. And very, very little gets done, which puts enormous pressure on the executive branch to get anything done and enormous pressure on the Supreme Court to get anything done. And he wasn't talking about the tariff spot specifically. He was more just bemoaning the entire side of Congress in terms of just this branch is just not doing anything.
I mean, it's no different than the Biden student loan operation, where he's like, I'm going to pay off the student loans, and then the Supreme Court says you can't do that. You don't have the power. Congress does. But guess what? Congress wasn't doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's the same. It's the same set of circumstances, and you basically have a checks and balance between two branches of government, while the other two don't know where Venezuela is on a map.
Speaking of Spanish-speaking countries, what a segue.
See,
Mexico. Didn't see those scenes coming out of the weekend.
Costco's gonna have to spend some of those refunds on rebuilding the Costco in Puerto Vallarta.
Yeah, Puerto Vallarta. Mexico killed Mencho, the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. I'm curious on the proper naming of a cartel. Do you always use cartel in the name, or is that,
That's a great point.
It seems a little on the nose, Like I wouldn't be like, hey, we are the violent street gang.
Company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But took that guy out, and then absolute chaos ensued.
Yeah, I think we're seeing the reason why Scheinbaum was reluctant to do anything against the cartels before. But I think that her hand was a little bit forced by the Trump administration, and they said, you know what, we'll take care of it. And now they're seeing the consequences of that, unfortunately, in Puerto Vallarta. A lot of guys with guns ordering people out of their vehicles and just burning those vehicles up. So
storming the airport.
It's terrible from just kind of a optics perspective. I think that it's probably good for Scheinbaum. I mean, she wins a lot of credit with the Trump administration for doing this, and there is a USMCA renegotiation that has to take place before July 1st of this year. So I think that this will curry favor with Trump, but it's not.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Talk about taking an extreme negotiation position.
Yeah. I mean, some of the footage of this Jalisco New Generation cartel. I mean, they were fully tactical in their armaments. I mean, I didn't know. I was like, those guys seem a lot more professional than the other guys.
I mean, they've got like real gear, like swag, like uniforms.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I'm not saying it was cool, but it was kind of cool.
I'll tell you what was funny though is when I first saw on Twitter this fire and smoke. If you typed in Puerto Vallarta and into Twitter, you get a real mix of messages, which is like the Costco's on fire, and the next one would be like a bunch of ladies in their 30s be like, I cannot recommend Puerto Vallarta enough as a place to go on a golf trip, and them just all posing in front of the ocean, in front of the 18th green, intermixed with people panicking and diving under desks at the airport.
Yeah, it's
the timing on those was pretty tough.
Yeah. Everybody has different experiences there, I guess. New York City shutting down due to the worst blizzard in history since 2017.
I saw that's a direct quote that I heard last night. It's like, we've never seen anything like this
in the modern
since
era, which was started 9 years ago. We've never seen anything like this. Might be a little bit of a quiet day for markets.
Yeah, apparently 15 inches of snow in Central Park, so they got that going for them, which is nice.
I'm sure they'll get that cleaned up quickly.
Well, I mean, you can volunteer. Mamdani announced that you can volunteer.
Bring your ID.
You got to bring two forms of ID in order to volunteer to shovel snow for the city of New York.
They should just go vote instead. Then no ID.
I don't know. I don't know that anyone should be snoveling snow on stolen land. But what's the latest with Netflix and Paramount then?
Paramount's going to submit a final offer today, and we'll see what if Warner Brothers accepts that. But it's interesting. Paramount's already got basically DOJ approval. They're playing nice with the Trump administration.
To buy a company. They've got their letter from their lender. They're ready to roll.
Whereas Netflix, they continue to just. Well, I don't know why they're pushing the buttons that they're doing with the Trump administration. It's like they want to challenge the Trump administration and also overpay for an expensive asset. But they have Susan Rice, the the Susan Rice, who I feel like has been
mother of Jerry,
who's been everywhere in politics and just in the news, like tangentially. She just keeps cropping up over the last 20 years.
That's what these people do.
And she is on the board of Netflix. And she had some harsh words to say for companies that, quote, take a knee to the Trump administration and like play by his rules and do all of this. She says that the Democrats won't forget that, and that there's going to be a new administration in charge at some point. And Trump said that Netflix needs to fire Rice or, quote, pay the consequences.
I would have gone fire Rice or pay the price. I'm just throwing that out there. That seemed like a layup. Makes me think Trump's lost his fastball.
I mean, I don't know. Once they merge with Warner Brothers, they might do. They might roll out Love Is Blind and Indigenous.
I'd watch.
I'd watch too.
Domino's reported this morning, Ben. How we feeling?
Steady on the top line. Gross margin really took a hit from insurance costs, but they think they're gaining some market share, and I think they are too. It'll be interesting to see if they can maintain this. They're gaining market share, and the reality is it's a market that's been shrinking, and I think that's the big challenge for them. And so they're really having to make some concessions on price. So, which is okay for them, kind of, because they're mostly franchised. So they just take a cut of the revenue. But for the franchisees, it's tougher sledding because they're going to have to do more with less revenue. And I mean, it just makes it tough. It also makes it tough to sign up more franchisees when the money's not in it.
We'll get NVIDIA earnings on Wednesday. We'll get the State of the Union tomorrow night. I'm going to take one for the team, and I'm going to watch it, and I might even watch the response.
Trump's speeches are just always so long.
It's such a grind, but you know what?
I'm just excited for we're going to do signs this year. We're going to do yelling.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that the highlight of last year was the little kid, the police officer who got added to the Secret Service.
Yeah, that was sick.
That was sick. I heard that they're members of the hockey team apparently going to be there.
Yeah, I saw the call.
The hockey guys are pumped.
Very patriotic, those young men.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's been a real tough track record with those who said they hated America and their results in the Olympics.
Yeah,
I saw that too.
I mean,
you can't be an alpha.
The hockey guys were.
America.
I mean, I saw clips of them blasting Toby Keith. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hanging with Cash Patel, maybe not as cool, but he was in the locker room for some reason.
He was keeping an eye on each of them.
Yeah. I mean, there was a clip of him chugging a beer, and I mean, he was doing this motion, and I mean, he looked like a unicorn. Like the eyes were way over here, kind of like a little, not too dissimilar from the Narwhal logo up there on the flag, but if you just turn it up right. But yeah, if the hockey boys and girls, Trump did say he was going to invite the women as well, so that he wouldn't get impeached. That's what he said on the phone, which they all thought was very funny, and I did too. So we'll see. All right, we'll wrap it up there. Y'all have a great day. Again, check out the Jacob's Ladder. We appreciate them partnering with us. Tom, we do have a lunch and learn opportunity coming up where we're going to highlight them. What's the date on that?
So the date is April 1st.
April 1st.
We're going to get some delicious food, have Amy come in, kind of give everybody a lay of the land on Jacob's Ladder, their fundraising efforts, the types of treatments and therapies they offer, and hopefully we can get some people involved and just expand their network.
Well, and that's something Tom and I were talking about, even beyond the donation. If you know someone who you can put Amy in contact with in order to distribute her model better, whether it's in the education field, whether it's in the medical field, whether it's in the political realm, she is open and eager to have all of those conversations. And so we're trying to open up some avenues for her. But if anyone listening can also help do that, that's certainly going to be very much appreciated.
Yeah, listen to the podcast or watch it on YouTube, whatever media you prefer. But if nothing else, check out the jacobsladdergroup.org and learn more. Talk to you guys soon.